national parade was actually cancelled as a result, even though they said it was administrative, administrative reason. But later on, we got to hear that there was a coup plot, and the military nailed 16 officers submit reports to Tinubu. The same thing for the Daily Trust. They said alleged coup, military hands over report to Tinubu. They made different traces, and they were able to ascertain that this also involved Brigadier General, others also to face possible dismissal, and Defense Intelligence confirms threat to democracy. How come we're talking about coup in 2025, albeit this is 2026?
Well, when the news came out, I think October 1st.
Yeah.
I think so, when the National Parade or Independence Parade was actually cancelled. Many people were taken aback, wondering, oh, what has coup got to do with disgruntled officers? Yes, absolutely. Some people will tap into the feelings of disgruntled officers over one thing or the other to try and foment trouble within the country. Then later, we learned that a former governor was linked to it, who I still believe is out of the country.
That's right. He's at large.
He's at large. So it speaks a lot about what has happened, because eventually, if you have nothing to hide, why don't you come back and say, look, hang on a minute, I'm here. Probe me. I have nothing to do with it. But
well, he's been saying that he had no connection.
Yeah, but he refused to return.
But well, they also fingered NDDC.
Absolutely.
That's also with 45 billion.
Yes, because of the source of funding and all that.
Yeah.
So he has refused to come back.
For a national, cake. Others are using it to prosecute,
Absolutely.
Destabilization of government.
So many people were taken aback and said, hang on a minute, what is going on? The best, the worst democracy, civil rule, is better than the best military. You need to live under the military rule and then understand what goes on. This kind of conversation cannot happen under the military
rule. The street went jubilant when they heard of the death of Abacha. I can remember then, I was still very young. Just running up and on the streets, like everyone was jubilating because of the decree, the iron fist, which Nigeria was ruled with.
At a point, 250 people were slaughtered on the streets of Lagos over June 12th. 250 in one day. The military doesn't care. You remember what happened with the Shiites in Zaria?
That's right.
When Buratai was chief of army staff. Yes, we might not even accept.
But then it was under democracy. It was in.
Well, absolutely. But the way the military reacts to issues, we might say that, look, we are not accepting amnesty figure of 800 people killed, but the official figure was pointing at 250, 300 also. So for me, that tells you what to expect when you're under the military. So for some people to even dream of bringing back the military to this country, for me, is totally unacceptable. Then one thing you need to understand is the military rule and their laws are totally different from ours. So they have a right to keep them, probe into the issues, court-martial them if necessary, and then give their own verdict. But at the end of the day, I don't think Nigerians want to truncate democracy. No matter, there will always be one or few people who are disgruntled, but
because
I don't think
I feel we know the importance of democracy. Now, I just want to talk about democracy, but Mr. Biodo, I would say with you, some people actually do not want it. It's sad. Not everybody wants the progress of Nigeria, because we know that democracy is for the people, and at the end of the day, the government is for the people. But
you're right. That's according to Abraham Lincoln, saying that the democracy, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. On that note, it's still on the same matter. If you look at it, also extended to political implications. So they talked about high-profile politicians, including former governor, which he mentioned from the south, though official charges have not been publicized. The same thing, military shake-up. And President Tinubu, remember that time when the president had to, rejig the military, the service chiefs, the military apparatus. In all of this, talking about coup in this present day and time, what if that had happened? Where would we be at this time?
Absolutely. The strength of a democracy is not dependent on the absence of threats. It's dependent on how institutions respond to these threats.
That's right.
And what this tells me, the fact that the military submitted a detailed report to the president on the details of this coup, the fact that they named officers involved, shows me that our institutional guardrails are still very much strong and holding. The president has responded the best way he possibly can. And for the military to be in collaboration and cooperating with the presidency so well intel concerning the details of this coup tells me that it's a few bad officers. What I find very interesting about the concept of coups in Nigeria is that Nigerians seem to have forgotten our history and how much bloodshed there were in coups past. You might not be happy with this current government or even the presidency, but trust me, military rule is something that Nigeria holds a lot of scars from. I remember when my father, Professor Femi Odekunle, was arrested, he was accused of plotting a coup along with Dia, and he was arrested. And I'll tell you what, President Bola Tinubu is a very, very merciful man, because the way that Abacha treated my father, till today, my family still holds that scar. So if you guys are thinking that a coup plotting is light work, it is not. There are very serious consequences. But what data can the presidency take from this coup threat? It can tell us that there's many internal grievances, and we need to stop them in their tracks and address them before they become consequential ideological threats.
You know, for me, I would even say, what sensible person would just want a coup to happen in Nigeria? Like, from what are you thinking? Like, you know, during a coup, people would die, there'll be bloodshed. You know, sometimes I wonder, Nigerians, are we really patriotic, as we say? Oftentimes, you see, and I say this all the time, you're not okay with a particular government. But that doesn't mean you want, you know, for chaos to happen in your country. Yes, you don't agree with the, you know, the president, but you don't want harm to happen in Nigeria, because even when the president is not there again, Nigeria is Nigeria. Nigeria is a country. Nobody owns Nigeria. Nigeria is for the people. Nigeria is for all of us.
And then if you hate the government will definitely go, and Nigeria will remain.
Absolutely.
But during you know what Olamide said actually, you know, reminded me of what happened recently. You remember the Al Mustafa case, who was alleged to have killed or murdered the wife of late
Kudirat Abiola.
Kudirat Abiola, and then they said, the Supreme Court, the court actually threw out the case because Lagos State failed to file charges or, you know, present, you know, its own, you know, side of the story. But when we say that something happened, why is it that the state where the murder actually took place, there, close to our old office, there at 7up, why is it that Lagos State will just not, you know, will be, I don't want to use the word lackadaisical, but I just mentioned
dilly-dallying.
Exactly. On this matter. We need to find closure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't forget, this Supreme Court gave Lagos State the green light 13 years ago to say, look, even though you apply to file out of time, they still agreed that, look, this is a very serious matter. Please file your case. And that didn't happen over 13 years. So, I mean, I'm sure this is not under this current Lagos State government. But eventually, unfortunately, they can't appeal that case anymore because there's a closure now by the Supreme Court. But what we need to understand about the implications of coup and all these issues is, one, for instance, look at what would have happened to our country.
That's right.
Assuming there had been a coup. One, we will have lost about $37 billion in foreign investment in our country because the foreign investors now have confidence in our country. And I will tell you how. The $5 billion Saudi Arabia investment in Nigeria, which we have signed, there's a $1.5 billion, you know, the Brazil's investment in the
Okay, so we just need to raise it because
full of knowledge.
I understand that we need to raise it because of our next segment. Let's talk politics very quickly. This Nigeria say